What if the most famous man in the world is also the loneliest? Imagine being one of the most desired people on the planet. Charming, rich, wildly talented. But in the quiet moments, when the lights go down, you are utterly alone. This is the paradox of Harry Styles. If love were a numbers game, he's playing with a broken compass. Because the data says his perfect match might not exist. But this isn't a story about numbers. This is a story about a man trying to solve the equation of his own heart. And the answer is far more complex than you think. This isn't just about Harry Styles. This is about what happens when your life becomes a public dream. A dream everyone wants to be a part of, but no one knows how to hold. We're diving into the data, the psychology, the relationship patterns, and the quiet moments that reveal more about Harry than he's ever said out loud. Stay with me, because by the end, you might just understand something about love and loneliness that statistics alone could never explain. Let's start with a cold, hard fact. Harry Styles is part of the 0.001%. Not just in wealth, not just in fame, but in the raw mathematics of human compatibility. Think of it like the Drake equation, but for love. Start with every person on Earth. Now, filter by age range, by language, by location. The pool shrinks. Now, filter again. Filter for people who can handle having their every move scrutinized by the public. The pool shrinks dramatically. Filter for people who won't see him as a stepping stone, a brand, a walking bank account. The pool becomes a puddle. Filter for someone who can match his creative energy, understand his nomadic lifestyle, and survive the sheer gravity of his fame. The puddle becomes a single drop of water. He can't just swipe right. He can't meet someone at a party and assume they're genuine. When your face is on billboards, trust is the first casualty. As author Alain de Botton wrote, the more options we have, the less satisfied we are with any one of them. For Harry, the paradox of choice isn't just a theory. It's his life. He lives on a pedestal so high, the air is too thin for anyone else to breathe. But the data just defines the battlefield. It doesn't explain the battle itself. For that, you have to look at the pattern. The ghost that haunts every relationship he's ever had. Taylor Swift, Kendall Jenner, Camille Rowe, Olivia Wilde. What do they have in common? They are brilliant, powerful, emotionally complex, and just as famous as he is. On paper, they are perfect matches. In reality, they were perfect storms. Time and again, these relationships collapse under the impossible weight of public pressure. Some end dramatically, in a flurry of songs and headlines. Others end in an eerie, deafening silence. It's not that Harry doesn't want love. It's that he keeps reaching for fire, and seems surprised when he gets burned. Take the Olivia Wilde relationship. It was a masterclass in fame's distortion field. The red carpets. The don't worry darling drama. The constant analysis. Their relationship wasn't a relationship. It was a news cycle. As psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasula notes, fame creates a distortion field around intimacy. You think it's love, but it's often performance. Behind the curtain, Harry is said to be soft-spoken, introspective, raised by powerful women. He's drawn to genuine emotion, not public exhibition. Yet his public life forces him into pairings that match his star power, not necessarily his soul. It's like trying to water a single rose with a fire hose. But the pattern isn't just about who he chooses. It's about what he fundamentally believes love is. And his own words tell the real story. In a Rolling Stone interview, Harry said it himself. "I think love is the most important thing in the world." He didn't say success, or fame, or even music. Love. But here is the central agonizing tension of his life. When you've built your entire world on fluid identity, constant reinvention, and personal freedom, traditional, stable love starts to feel like a cage. The world wants clarity. labels, commitment. But Harry is a ghost. He's constantly shedding his skin. His own lyrics tell the story. On Sign of the Times, he sings, "Just stop your crying, it's a sign of the times. We gotta get away from here." It's not a promise of forever. It's a beautiful goodbye. On falling, he asks, "What if I'm someone I don't want around?" It is the ultimate fear of intimacy. The fear that if someone truly sees you, they will leave. Trying to build a permanent home with a man who is constantly changing blueprints is impossible. Maybe what he calls love isn't love at all. Maybe it's a series of beautiful, fleeting collisions. And maybe he prefers the impact to the stillness that comes after. And that preference for motion, for escape, it's not just a feeling. There's real data on the psychological toll this takes, especially on men like Harry. According to a Harvard study on success and loneliness, men at the apex of their fields, especially in entertainment, face a crushing paradox. They are surrounded by admiration, yet feel completely, emotionally isolated. They live inside a panopticon of fame, always being watched, every gesture analyzed, every word scrutinized. How can you find an authentic connection when you yourself are never sure if you're being authentic? Is she here for me, or for the man on the poster? Harry once admitted, "Dating is hard when you're not sure why someone likes you." Listen to the words of his ex, Camille Rowe. In a leaked voicemail, featured on his own album, she says, "You keep running, but you don't know what from." It is the single most revealing sentence ever spoken about him. A man in perpetual motion. Maybe he's not running from a person. Maybe he's running from the silence. The emptiness he feels when the roar of the crowd finally fades. And that's where it gets dangerous. Because when loneliness wears a velvet jacket and a charming grin, it's much harder to recognize, even for the person living inside it. But what if the problem isn't just finding love? What if the problem is that when love does find him, he doesn't know how to receive it? In psychology, it's called attachment injury. A deep-seated fear of abandonment that causes you to sabotage the very thing you crave. You want intimacy, but you fear being truly seen. You crave love, but you push it away at the most critical moment. Sound familiar? Sources close to the Olivia Wilde relationship described a painful cycle. He would pull away for weeks at a time, retreating into his own world. Then, he would return with handwritten notes and grand gestures of affection. Affection and retreat. Love and distance. It's the behavior of a man who builds a beautiful fire to keep someone warm, and then spends the entire night standing just outside its reach, afraid of his own creation. Because if you never truly let someone get close to the fire, you never have to feel the cold when they walk away. It is the ultimate defense mechanism. A preemptive heartbreak. But where did this fear, this deep-seated injury, come from? To understand the man, you have to go back to the boy. Long before the Gucci suits and stadium tours, Harry was just a boy. A boy whose father left the family home when he was just 7 years old. Childhood abandonment doesn't always look like tears. Sometimes, it looks like a relentless drive to be loved by everyone. Overachievement becomes a suit of armor. He became the world's heartthrob, a global icon of desire. But what if that was just the armor? A way to ensure he would never, ever feel unchosen again? If you are loved by millions, the departure of one person feels less significant. It is a distributed love. A safer love. But it is not a real love. Every romantic relationship since has felt like an echo of that first loss. Temporary. Conditional. Destined to end. Even now, Harry speaks of love like it's a bird in his hands. Beautiful. Elusive. And ultimately, meant to fly away. But what if the bird only flies because he never dares to close his hands? So what happens now? Is Harry Styles doomed to repeat the cycle forever? To chase a love he subconsciously pushes away? Not necessarily. Because the statistics only define the odds. They don't write the ending. And if there's one thing we know about Harry, it's that he has never followed the odds. The pattern can be broken. but it requires a different choice. Maybe his perfect match isn't someone who reflects his fame. Maybe she isn't a headline or a movie star. Maybe she's just a person. Someone who sees the cracks in the armor and isn't afraid of the man inside. Someone who doesn't want the spotlight, just the man. Someone who doesn't just love the artist, but the boy still searching for a place to call home. If this story made you feel something, if it helped you see the ghost of your own heartbreaks in a different light, then share this video. Because behind every chart-topping hit, there is a human being, just trying to make sense of love. And maybe, just maybe, understanding Harry's story helps you understand your own. Don't forget to subscribe for more emotional deep dives into the lives behind the fame. And in the comments, I want you to answer this. Do you believe great fame and great love can truly coexist? Because the answer to that might say more about us than it does about him.